Hello everyone. Today I'm going to present a true crime listening journal. My presentation focuses on a classic Norwegian dark history that's about the rise of a radical preacher named MAITATSINE and the tragic KANO riot of 1980. The main idea of this story explains how extreme poverty and corruption can allow dangerous groups to grow. The main message is that extremist groups do not appear out of nowhere. The leader, Mohammed Marwa, managed to build a massive cult because he took advantage of the anger of poor people who felt completely abandoned by the government. But now, let's look at the details of the historical context. Before, in the 70s, northern Nigeria relied on agriculture and they had a traditional system of charity called Sedaka that helped people in need. However, everything they changed when crude oil was discovered. Agriculture was suddenly abandoned and all money folded the country. But this wealth was not distributed fairly. It stayed in the hands of a few powerful politicians and elites. As a result, the poor people became poorer, and this created a huge gap between social classes, and this makes also the society angry of this. But in the sequence of events, Mohammed Marwa was a migrant that came from Cameroon who arrived in Nigeria in the 50s, but he arrived as a poor worker. In his early speeches, he defended poor migrants against corruption authorities, which is why the government saw him as a threat and deported him in 1963. After that, he returned in 1962 during the oil boom. Since social frustration was very high, Marwa changed his strategy. He started a highly organized movement in a poor neighborhood, and his followers became known as the Young Taitsini. But as his group grew, Marwa's ideology became extremely radical. For instance, he banned modern objects like radios, watches, and bicycles, claiming they were symbols of the corrupt upper class. By December of 1980, the situation reached a breaking point. The local police could not handle the armed cult, so the Nigerian military had to intervene. A massive riot broke out, resulting in the deaths of over 4,000 people, including MAITATSINE itself. In terms of destruction, this was one of the most worst conflicts in Nigerian history. And now we can make some important inferences. First, when a government fails to provide education and economic opportunities, poor people become vulnerable to radicalization. Second, the military force can eliminate a leader, but it cannot kill an idea. As evidence, the narrator connects this history to modern times because the socioeconomic problems were never solved. The ideology returned 3 decades later. In 2009, a much deadlier terrorist group emerged from the exact same region, Boko Haram. This provides that history repeats itself when the root causes of crime are ignored. Well, that's all, folks.